Portia Gumbo, Portia Gumbo Dube, who's the head of business development at the ECIC, on the outlook for business development on the African continent.
We work with independent organizations, project preparation funds that have access to deals when they're still at inception stage, and it's really important to us to be able to get involved at that stage, because we can drive the structure in terms of what we want to see, to make sure that when the deal comes across to us, it is a bankable transaction. A good place as well that we focus on is a lot of the national development plans of government institutions. They give you a forward-looking vision of what they're looking to achieve within different countries over the next 5 to 10 years, depending on whatever country you're dealing with. And they usually outline the infrastructure projects that are coming online, and that's a good place to start in terms of identifying where the needs will be and making sure that we position ourselves to be able to support South African business that would be looking to provide services or be involved in the construction of those various projects as they come online.
Portia, you spoke about bankable transactions and looking at our current economic environment, the macroeconomics are not looking very favorable. To what extent has this had an impact on your strategy?
It's caused us to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of looking for new business, rather than sitting there and expecting transactions to come knocking on your door. We have to be more assertive and proactive in going out into the market and actually developing the opportunities as we see them. Because when market conditions are difficult, chances are the resources dry up, the number of deals are put on hold, so you don't have as many transactions that would come online. So what you focus on really is going out there, being at the forefront in terms of letting people know about what we do, knowing that whatever constraints they're facing, it's not a reason to actually shelve your project, it's a reason to come and knock on our door. Because of the cover that we provide, we enable the deals to happen. So where you don't have business opportunities locally, look in new markets. You may be uncomfortable or unfamiliar with those markets, but you have a partner in us, a risk partner on the continent that can assist you, because we have good knowledge, we have good relationships, we are able to cover political risk and commercial risk for those projects that you're looking to undertake cross-border.
Portia, you've mentioned a very important point there when it comes to the sustainability of ensuring that you keep good relationships. Just talk to us about just how important it is to make sure that you forge these relationships, because it's not just about a return on investment or trying to get a quick result.
Absolutely. So we are a state-owned entity. We have to adhere to responsible lending practices. Even though we are not a lender, we do provide cover, but we have to ensure that the projects that we get involved with meet certain environmental standards, marketing standards, as well as that the countries that we are lending to have the ability to repay the projects that they are undertaking. So our focus really is to ensure that we're not a fly-by-night service. We have to make sure that and a lot of the projects that we undertake are project finance, which are by nature are long-term financing projects. So and we remain in the transaction even after a contractor has delivered the project. So we do have to ensure that whatever projects we get involved with, it is bankable from the onset. The structure is robust. There is a means for the project to repay itself.
You mentioned that you are a state-owned entity, but there's still a lot of competition out there. What is the strategy going to be in order to position yourself to be a formidable player in this particular industry? What
distinguishes us, obviously, is the fact that our focus is on supporting South African manufacturers, and there has to be a certain amount of local content that is in the projects that we support, because we have a developmental mandate to ensure that we are part of the solution in terms of long-term employment and in developing our economy. And we also require some kind of local developmental input as such, because now our content requirements also require a minimum at least of 20% rest of Africa content. So looking at the development as well of the countries, intra-Africa trade, the countries that we are partnering with as well. Now, in terms of how we distinguish ourselves from private insurers, we are usually the lender of last resort. We are not there to compete and to push out the private market. We are here to complement the private market. So our product really is looking where the gaps are and coming in there and supporting our manufacturers where they cannot get assistance, mostly from the private insurers.
ECIC, your export risk partner.
That was Portia Dube, who's the head of business development at the ECIC. Well, stay with us after the break. We take a look at disclosing the offshore investments that you might have outside of South Africa, and if you don't, some of the penalties that you may face. More Closing Bell right after this.
Closing Bell is brought to you by RMB, a leading African corporate and investment bank that provides innovative financial solutions for clients across the continent.
So since 1974, we've basically been doing radio astronomy, and around about 1980, we did our first geodetic observation. And since 1986, which is now exactly 30 years ago, we started doing our very accurate, very long baseline interferometry experiments using a maser hydrogen clock. The previous experiments were sort of accurate to a couple of meters. We now do observations accurate to the sub-centimeter level. So it's facilities like this that interacts with foreign countries. We're involved in several large international networks, so international collaboration, is quite a high priority. So, it creates a good profile for South Africa. That we're involved in experiments that we even participated in, ranging to the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter a couple of years ago. We're aiming to get accuracies of 1 millimeter over global distances, and the stability of the reference frame accurate to 0.1 millimeter per year, which is an incredible thing. And we are proud to say that our government has come to the party and they've also supported this initiative.
Well, next time on Driving Forward, with only 2% of the world's vehicles, Africa is home to 16% of road fatalities, and the continent has been hit particularly hard by the road safety crisis. Join me and my guests, Basil Johnson from the South African Road Federation and Tristan Wiggle, Transport World Africa editor, and we'll discuss if there is enough political will to change the problem.